If you're looking to get the latest updates from Microsoft 365, but don't want to spend hours sifting through the 100 or so announcements like me, stay tuned because in this episode I'm going to be covering all the latest updates, changes, and enhancements that you don't want to miss.
Okay guys, so diving in here, just a quick reminder, I do supplement these videos with a blog post down below with more helpful information and links to all these announcements, so be sure to check that out after you're done watching the video. Diving in here though, we're going to go through Microsoft Teams first, as we usually do. This first one's related to ongoing meeting indicator, as you can see here in the screenshot for Teams channels, where you potentially could have a big group and multiple meetings going on at the same time. This view will allow you to see that. This will happen early March and be complete by mid-March. Next one here is Microsoft Teams on Windows, the ability to annotate content while sharing a single window. Previously, this was only available if you were sharing your entire desktop. Annotations, by the way, is where you can draw or mark up like with a marker on your screen while you're screen sharing to give more direction and direct the user more as to what you're talking about. This will happen mid-March and be complete by late March. Last one here for Microsoft Teams is this new control for quick views in the chat list. Quick views, as you can see here in the screenshots up in that top left corner. And as you can see there as well, this feature capability will allow you to say, I always want to see where there's notifications here, have this show up in the quick views, or I only want it to show for the at mentions or at follow threads whenever the messages are unread. So just reducing clutter and noise there. Timelines on this one's late March and be complete by mid-April. Hey guys, if you're looking to save hours performing Microsoft 365 security assessments and have client-facing reporting at your fingertips in under 60 seconds, check out a tool that I built called CloudCapsule, which allows you to automate Microsoft 365 assessments, and we mapped to over 150 data points and baseline standards such as CIS and NIST. Within seconds, you'll have policy information and mappings across the entire Microsoft 365 suite in a single platform here that you can navigate. And within our baselines, we've recently mapped to the Foundations benchmark from CIS. You can now see all of these controls with automated pass-fail evidence and evidence collection with full remediation steps for each control. So if this looks interesting and you want to run a free scan on your environment or a client environment, head over to cloudcapsule.io and run a free assessment today. Shifting into Microsoft Entra here, this first one is a little bit more technical in nature, but it's related to hybrid join for devices and using Microsoft Entra Kerberos. This is if you have a hybrid environment, and it's really cool, I think, because it allows you to perform a hybrid join of a device without requiring ADFS or Active Directory Federation services or even the legacy Entra Connect sync. So there's a lot of it to unpack with that, too much for this video, but I include a link with all this information in my blog post. You can check that out. This is currently in a preview state with no anticipated timelines just yet on GA. Next one here I also thought was pretty cool for Entra, where you can deactivate an app registration. This could be for testing purposes that you wanted to do or just disable an app registration temporarily, but it also could be when you're going through some type of incident and you want to deactivate and reduce your attack surface if it is related to that app registration. And previously you could only just go ahead and blow that away and delete it as a hard delete and then have to recreate it, but now you have the deactivate and activate buttons there that you can use. This is GA today, so you can see this today within your Entra Admin Center. And then the very last one here, probably a lower scope for my audience, but if you're leveraging or licensing Entra ID governance, they're creating some exclusion here for requiring an Azure subscription for guest users using the governance features. I won't go in depth into all those features because it's really too much for this video as well too, but effectively they're moving it into a monthly active user model for guest users. So it's more pay-as-you-go type of usage model versus a flat subscription fee. It's kind of weird that they're doing this, but this already took effect in January of this year. So by the time you're watching this video, it's already in effect if you have that consideration. Shifting into Microsoft Intune here, a few announcements. First one, just for general awareness, they're going to start improving the Intune reporting accuracy. Even if you do not use the device cleanup rules, if you're familiar with that, they're going to start excluding devices and marking devices as inactive if they haven't checked in for 12 plus months, and they're going to remove them from all reporting to improve the accuracy of your reports as well too. So overall good. I think I would like to see that even at a reduced monthly time frame, even 6 months or 90 days, something like that. But this is going to be something that's going to be available by default within the portal. So just be aware of that as you're going into February of this year. Next one here is related to secure boot status report for Windows Auto Patch being available now. This is GA today, but this is available in the Intune Admin Center under that reports and Windows quality updates. This is just a screenshot of a sample of that report. And if you do have this consideration for secure boot certificates, I think it's going to be really rare because you're talking about 2011, but you never know in our market. I've seen a lot of wild stuff. They're expiring in June 2026 of this year, so this helps you identify devices that have secure boot enabled. The other one here for Microsoft Intune was the availability here for Windows First Sign-In Restore experience. It's more related for Windows specifically, but it also involves the out-of-box experience and the first sign-in to do the restoration process of something that they've saved with their work account. As an example here, and you can sign in with Entra ID on those eligible devices, which require certain specs to be able to use this, just newer versions obviously of Windows. And then they'll be able to restore their environment here even if they didn't do that through the out-of-box experience itself. That's GA today and can start taking a look at that. There's more information in my blog about this one too if you guys want to see that. Shifting into Purview here, there's a few announcements here that are related to some more of the advanced features, I would say, that are in either the Purview add-on or E5 compliance, which is E5 Purview now. But this is specifically around some of the data security investigations and AI analysis. So this is giving you investigations with AI analysis improvements, including the ability to prep items for AI analysis in a repeat loop here, so that it's constantly doing some type of analysis that you've pre-filtered over and over again, whether that's surfacing documents that are being shared across Copilot chats, things like that. This is GA today, and you can see that in the Purview Admin Center if you do have that licensing. Next one here is also data lifecycle management, creating separate retention policies for Copilots and AI apps. This is a natural separation here. This is something that's actually going to be available for business premium users as an example of this, but when you ever go in there, you want to have potentially lower retention policies around chats, given, just potential sensitive data exposure for that and deletion timelines that could be different from your regular files and folders, right, as an example. Timelines on this one's mid-March and be complete by May. Next one here I think was timely just because I've been doing a lot of videos lately personally on DLP and sensitive info types. One of the things I always call out is that the out-of-the-box sensitive info types that Microsoft has for detecting things like social security numbers and credit card numbers are often littered with false positives. So this is Microsoft starting to pay attention to that probably more so now because a lot of people are starting to adopt it more because of things like Copilot and AI being in use. And so this is them trying to make it more accurate by just changing things overall here. Timelines on this one's GA, so nothing really going to affect you in this way, but hopefully we start to see some of those out-of-the-box sensitive info types become much more accurate. And then the very last one here is this posture reports generally available. This is giving you the ability to see posture reports around trends, around information protection, so sensitivity labels, and then your DLP policies if you've rolled those out. And this is giving you insights into how users are applying labels, what DLP activity looks like, what posture trends look like as part of this as well. They're really starting to aggregate this all into a central location, which you can find reports under the information types and the data loss prevention to see these today. And that will happen in the sense of the rollout in early February, be complete by mid-February. Shifting into Microsoft Copilot here, this is branded photo customization. You can see that really, it's probably a blurred screenshot, but towards the bottom of this here. Basically, I think it's helpful to understand or help users understand this is approved by the organization to use Copilot and this AI tool versus using other third parties, but just a very subtle branding that you can do now in Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. This will happen March and be complete by late April. Next one here, I didn't really realize this wasn't already available, but apparently you could not copy tables from your chats that you were interacting with Copilot to put them into other use cases such as other documents like a loop file or emails or spreadsheets, anything like that. But you will be able to do that starting in March and be complete by early March. So around the same time frame for this one. And then the next one here for all my international folks out there watching, there's this audio recap language expansion in Microsoft Teams for the audio recap you get whenever you do a meeting as an example, and it's expanding into these 8 different languages that you see here on the screen. Timelines on this one's late March and be complete by mid-April. And then the very last one here for Copilot is this announcement for Copilot Studio, which is the ability to create inputs from existing conversations. A lot of you may not have used Copilot Studio yet, but inputs are really the capability for you to basically say, hey, when the user says this, I can take this contextual information and return this response. That's at a very high level, really oversimplifying it. But this is basically saying, I'm going to take the chat history of a user's interacting with the Copilot agent, and I'm going to go ahead and start to create my own inputs intelligently behind that, so I can get better responses to users over time without having me as the creator manually do that for every single input. So if that makes sense, it's going to be, I think, a big win if it works well. General availability on this is March 31st of this year. And then shifting into the very last section here is the admin section. So there's some updates here around EWS retirement. This is officially, as you guys might already be aware, going to be retired in lieu of Microsoft Graph later this year. It's going to start as a phased disablement process, as you can see here, starting in October. And there's going to be a permanent shutdown, about 6 months later in the April timeframe. They do have an EWS report in the usage report section of the admin center. This is where the screenshot is coming from, so you can actually see where this protocol is being used, or the EWS API in this particular case within the organizations or the ones that you manage. So you can sure check that out, and I'll link in my blog steps on how to go get this information as well. And then the very, very last announcement here is an update for CSP and the licensing models. This is going to be something I create a whole blog post on and video because it is a lot to unpack. But effectively here, Microsoft is removing the grace period for NCE renewals. And so effectively here, up to this point, you would typically get this 30-day grace period where if your subscription was not set to auto-renew and expired, you'd have 30 days before services were disabled and shut off. And there was no real penalty for that. But now, as part of this change, you have really 3 paths, which is to renew, cancel right away, which will immediately turn off your services, or go into this extended service terms, which effectively is the default method if you make no selection on a subscription not set to auto-renew. And by doing so, you're getting actually moved into a subscription effectively with a interest of 3%. And so you can see that somewhat here in the diagram that I built around a comparison. And again, there's so much to unpack with this. It's very, I think, negative experience that we're going to have as part of this, but I will be getting through all the details in a later video. I'll include the links here too, so you guys can see more about this before the time frame on it, because it will start taking effect in May of this year.
Okay guys, that's everything I had for you today. Definitely comment below with any of the features you're most excited about. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.